Now, over at the track, the athletics got underway earlier today.
Yes, these games are about people using sport to overcome adversity and help in their recoveries. Now, Dan Phillips was inspired by a fellow competitor to try a new sport this time.
Growing up, I was the eldest of 3 children. With a single mum, my dad wasn't on the scene. So I always grew up to be the protector from a very, very early age. I'd always wanted to join the army. I always saw them as the ultimate protectors. I always knew I was going to do it. I was always going to be the person that put myself in harm's way so nobody else had to be. At the end of 2011, we deployed out to Afghanistan. After nearly 6 months, I only had a few weeks left of the tour. We'd gone on one last long-range patrol, and we come under fire from the left. Bullets have come over. I was crossing some open ground, carrying a lot of equipment. I had well over 50 kilograms of equipment. The only choice I had was to dive forward onto the ground. I remember hitting the ground and feeling a bit of a jolt. I thought I'd done something at the time, but it wasn't until I got back off the patrol and took my body armour off where I realised that there was quite a serious issue. My bottom 2 discs had ruptured directly backwards and hit my spinal cord and left me with a life-changing injury. I felt like I wasn't able to fulfil my role as a dad anymore. I couldn't even kick a ball with my children. I felt like I couldn't be that protector anymore. I unfortunately turned to alcohol at the time and found myself not too far from here on the edge of Beachy Head, and I'd had enough at the time, and I didn't want to carry on, and was going to go over, but it felt like I had a bungee cord keeping me to the ground, and I realised that was my children. When I was medically discharged, I was absolutely devastated. It was my dream job, the job that I'd always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. I became a recluse. I didn't want to see anybody or talk to anybody, and I just wanted to shut the world out and shrink my own world down so I didn't have to deal with anything on the outside. I was advised by a fellow veteran to give the Invictus Games a go. And I didn't believe, I'd be able to take part in any of the sports, not with a spinal injury. I just felt so positive and inspired being around all the other team members and comrades. They all helped to support each other and bring each other on. So I was in absolute shock when I was selected for the team to head out to Sydney in 2018. Winning a silver medal in the rowing was just an incredible experience. A competitor called Naomi Adey from the 2018 team inspired me to take part in the athletics this year into the wheelchair racing, and I've absolutely loved it. Such a huge feeling of freedom and being able to get speed up again, and it gets the adrenaline pumping. I absolutely love it. I still struggle with my physical injuries and my mental health issues, but taking part in the Invictus Games has really helped to bring me out of the shadows and into the light, and not shut myself away from the world like I used to do.
I saw Dan yesterday, and he is just in the best mood ever, but when you see how far he's come, I mean, it really puts everything in context, just how important this is.
Absolutely, and these films can be quite hard to watch, but it's important that we understand the stories behind the sport we're seeing. And he's got such amazing drive and determination, hasn't he, Dan?
Yeah, he does, and he's going to be busy this week, I tell you, at these games, because, he's competing in what? He's got rowing, wheelchair basketball, rugby, athletics, which he's doing 4 races in.
Tons of stuff.
Yeah, I know, so he's everywhere. But let's see how we got on in the 1500 metres with Steph Reid and Ronald McIntosh in the commentary box for us.
5 athletes answering the starters beeper in this mixed classification IT8 1500 meter final. We've got athletes from the United States of America and the United Kingdom, and taking early charge of this race is Mark Cloherty in the green chair wearing number 158. His compatriot Daniel Phillips, on whom we saw that emotive feature just ahead of this race, in the purple chair just behind him. But look at the charge being made by the 2-time Invictus Games operator Joshua Smith, hurtling around the outside.
Wheelchair racing is so exciting because there's so much strategy involved. You can see Joshua Smith has decided, I'm not satisfied sitting in the back of this pack. He's gone to the front, which means that Clarity and Phillips can sit in that draft.
So 2 laps into the race, 700 meters to go, and it's still the early leader, Joshua Smith from the United States of America, who despite having 2 compatriots alongside him in this race is electing to work as a solo operator. It is Mark Clarity in second, and in third place Daniel Phillips. Those the 3 medalists there were away and clear from the rest of the field, and still doing all of the hard work is the retired technical sergeant from the US Air Force, Joshua Smith.
You can really see the effects of the draft in the shot. For about every 3 pushes that Joshua Smith takes, both Team UK athletes, Phillips and Clarity, only really have to take 2, and they're able to sit up. This is really going to come into play on that final lap to see who wins.
So this time the bell, as they power towards 1 lap to go, it is still Joshua Smith leading. In Sydney back in 2018, he was a 4-time silver medalist in the 100, 200, 400 and 1500 meters. That was in the IT4 seated category. And is the punch of his wheels just beginning to shorten a little bit because of all the work that he has put in to maintain this position and hold off the 2 Team UK athletes, Daniel Phillips in third and Mark Clarity in second.
This is where it really starts to hurt. And you can see actually the cadence from Joshua Smith has just picked up. Obviously, he had the confidence to go to the front and pull this race and know he would have the energy and endurance to close it.
Well, he's got his head down. He is punching those wheels furiously once again now, looking to make a move around the outside of Mark Clarity is Daniel Phillips, and he's pushed the turbo button now, and he's looking to reel in the long-time leader, Joshua Smith from the United States of America, and he is gaining with every push. So much power being punched through those rear wheels, and his front wheel is coming up. He's closing, he's closing. Quick shoulder check from Joshua Smith, and he is going to hold on in what is a perfectly timed race. He led from practically gun to tape. Joshua Smith of the United States of America holds off Daniel Phillips. Daniel Phillips adding a silver medal here on the track to the silver medal that he won in rowing at the Invictus Games in Sydney. But a terrific performance from Joshua Smith to come away with Invictus Games gold in this 1500 meter race.
Oh, that was such a brilliant and competitive race where the racers are working together. And don't forget, it's not easy to control the length of those chairs. And you can see how much it means to all the competitors.